WNIN provides regional video content.
That funding goes
Youth
to
leadership
leadership
grants,
cultural museum.
give you an idea of what kind of
Friends at Swerka use their funding to maintain educational, recreation, and nutritional services for citizens
Laura
over
Windhorst through the
Symphonic Band, that money helps to fund literature,
such as youth
musicians.
Junior Achievement
United Neighborhoods of Evansville,
Indiana.
that funding goes to
SICTC,
neighborhood associations, provides assistance,
the Rights High
information,
School,
information, and other programs.
Rights High School,
The Humane Society uses its funding for the operations of low-cost spay and neuter clinic. The Westside Professional Business Association uses their money for tree replacement, liability grant money, trash removal.
Continues to fund
WNIN provides local regional video content.
And
Youth leadership grants.
and youth sports.
And youth
Give
you an idea of what kind of
organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club, Evansville Junior League football,
Laura
boxing,
Windhorst, Steps Network,
Evansville Youth Baseball,
groups such as Youth Bill, Junior Achievement of South and Southern Indiana, SICTC, Right Steps Network.
The Rights High School organizations have received funding for many years.
Youth Resources, Teen Advisory, Teen Power,
I would tell you the reason I feel supporting these organizations is important is because they contribute to recruit businesses and they improve our place in the city. I will tell you that I will continue to be an advocate, help find additional funding sources. I am a phone call or an email away if I can help to get any way to get you in the door or anything else. Okay, so that was one section of the cuts from last night. Last night, if you followed along, there was a sheet called Sheet 6. Was referred to as being included in the cuts. Sheet 6 means Anthony Oates Pool is closed. Our final proposal, the budget included funding for Anthony Oates. The suggestion of a city council member whose ward that pool sits in expressed concern, we put it back in. However, it was cut last night. We pledged to work with community leaders in that neighborhood for an appropriate reuse of that facility. Over time, police, fire, METs are concerning and will certainly be a great obstacle in terms of future management of those departments, but I know that the leadership in each of those departments is up to that task. For EPD, we pay overtime for work in citizens academies, neighborhood association meetings, national night out, the Dust Bowls. The list is very lengthy. The fire department, obviously, I think it speaks for itself. METs, frankly, after evaluating what we've evaluated so far, I don't see, standing here today, how we will be able to offer Sunday service in the new year. But we will continue to look for grants to see how we can do that. It's the most frequently asked addition for METs, and we believe it's very important, and we'll continue to try and find funding for that. Secondly, I think the cuts from last night jeopardized the funding for the Highway 41 route. And after we've just completed the comprehensive operational analysis, I think we'll have to go back in with the level of funding that is now before us and look at how we can continue to use all the routes that we have. So an additional analysis of that department will be upcoming. Other cuts. City roads will be impacted. $800,000 from the $1.8 million for road projects was cut last night. I don't know about you, but I get a lot of questions and comments about the status of our roads. And my comment is always, we spend the resources that are allotted to us, and our city engineer's office does a phenomenal job, I believe, of keeping inventory of what needs to be fixed. We have the list, we have a list of priorities, but the resources were reduced last night. The Victory Theater's budget was cut by 50%, 50%. I've asked the building authority to start looking at options to see how we deal with a 50% reduction in that budget. New four-year-old Ford Center, that budget was cut by 18%. Those funds go to maintain the ice plant, HVAC, conversions from one event to another, and routine building services. Finally, the Blight Elimination Program proposal with the land banking administered by the Brownfields Corporation was cut completely. No other explanation other than, in my opinion, it was strictly political. This proposal has been based on recommendations from national experts that have been to our city. They've seen our city. They've talked to the men and women who lead this effort on a weekly basis. We think it was a great opportunity. We've identified 1,800 residential blighted homes in our city. We thought this was a good first step toward eliminating blight. As I said earlier, I think this is an exercise in bad public policy. I would like to make a couple comments about some members of our council. I'd like to thank President Dan Adams. When I got back to the Civic Center last night, he and I huddled along with Councilman O'Daniel, the city attorneys representing the administration and both the council to figure out what could be done last night. As bad as I think this budget is, it would have been a greater travesty had we not passed a budget. Let me say that again. As bad as this budget is, it would have been a travesty had we not passed a budget. Dr. Adams cast his vote in protest. I appreciate that. Councilman Mosby is here. I appreciate her support. Councilman Weaver voted no. I understand why, and I certainly appreciate his support. And I appreciate Councilman McGinn changing his vote to make sure we get a budget passed. Well, in 4 years, we've faced a lot of challenges, and I think we've gotten through most of them. They haven't always been pretty, but we're going to get through this like we've gotten through everything else. We're going to work together, and if there's been a wrong, we're going to make it right. And we'll work with you side by side, whether you're a not-for-profit in our community, representing great quality of life, or whether you're a city department head or someone who works for the city, whose job it is to provide important services. We're going to roll up our sleeves and figure it out. But that was important to get everyone together today to make sure, especially from the not-for-profit worlds, you know exactly what you're facing. I know everyone has different budget cycles, and we're now just 2 months before the beginning of what will be a new fiscal year for many of you. I know it puts you on short notice, but I thought it was important that you got the word and the exact number of the cuts as early as possible. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Is this final? With new city council members coming on, will this be final as to the room for change, the possibility?
We don't believe there will be room for change in terms of the community grants for next year, as they are funded through our local option income tax. We believe there are probably greater restrictions there. But as I said, our analysis is a work in progress. I would tell you that you should probably count on the money that you see before you. If anything changes for the better, it will be a nice surprise. But I would say you should plan on using the funds that you see on the sheet before you. Okay. Thanks for being here. Thanks for what you do for the city. And we're certainly available for questions privately. We've been working on this pretty much since we got to work at 7:30, 7:45 this morning, and we'll continue to work on it through the balance of the year. Thanks for your time.